Thank you very much indeed for that lovely warm welcome. It's fantastic to be back in London among so many friends. I too am a London citizen, I'm a London mum, and I'm even a London grandmother now. So this really, really matters to me, and I am so proud that it is London that is launching this Zero Suicide initiative globally. I want to start by describing what is the Zero Suicide Alliance. We are an alliance of 300 organisations and very, very many more in this country, but also gradually building up hugely and very rapidly internationally. We have two purposes. Our first purpose is to raise awareness to prevent suicide. Raising awareness about creating mental health and well-being, about responding rapidly to mental ill health, and about raising awareness about what we can do to prevent suicide. We aren't just an awareness raising organisation, an alliance of many partners. We are listening to our stakeholders, and our stakeholders tell us they want to know how to rapidly progress to action. So the Zero Suicide Alliance, among our partners, we have a series of products and alliances and practical tools and actions that we are working on across the board to expedite the development and the stopping of suicide. I know some of you and many people listening will be saying, can you really do it? Can you really make such rapid progress towards zero suicide? And I would just like to remind people in the audience that may have forgotten. 7 years ago, just 7 years ago in England, if you go back and you look at the newspapers and you listen to radio stories, what you would have heard is a denigration of mental health, an automatic link with violence. If you looked at the main NHS information website on healthcare, if you looked at the mental health section in 2012, only 10,000 people ever hit on that website. Why? Because again, it just talked about the clinics and the use of violence. What's happened since then? Well, in that short 7 years, we have now got to the point where when you listen to the media, you look at television programs, you see what the 32 million people, 32 million, from 10,000 people hitting on the main website and 32 million, you can see that mental health is in a very different place. 32 million people in this country want something to be different about mental health. And if you're asking me, so what is it they want? What do people tell us they want? They absolutely want to be able to play their part in suicide. But they're also very clear that we can only do that in partnership in our communities. People have got that, just as we can help people develop their physical health and well-being, we also help people develop their mental health and well-being and resilience. Just as we can work with colleagues at football clubs and sports clubs and schools and universities to help people with really good physical health, we can do the same thing in mental health. People have also got that, the wonderful, eloquent presentation done by the two previous speakers, that actually in every community that we're living in every population, and listening to our public health colleagues, we can identify in our own individual communities the determinants of mental well-being, mental ill health, and the high-risk things that push people towards suicide. We can do those in local communities, but then we need to look at what are the evidence-based and very effective prevention interventions. How can we make communities safer? What assets can we build? And London, I believe, has got more to offer and has driven more improvement internationally than really any other city that I'm aware of. And I suppose when I look back, having been a London clinician and mother and citizen for 42 years, and you think, why was it that it was only 7 years ago we went from being a stigmatised thing that nobody wanted to talk about to now being a topic at the top of everybody's agenda? I really pay enormous tribute to people, experts by experience, people who've spent the night, people who have been willing to tell their stories, who have been willing to help reduce the stigma, who have been willing to help people understand that it's me, you, any one of us in this room, many of us with families for whom mental ill health is something that's there and a very prominent thing for them. Every one of us can play our part in tackling the underlying causes of mental ill health and in tackling the causes of suicide. So my messages are very clear to the Zero Suicide Alliance. Mental health and well-being is vital for individuals, their families and local communities, and the economy. Mental ill health is often very preventable if we understand in our local areas the root causes and we can tackle them. Suicide is preventable if we have the training and we understand what we can do to improve. Mental illness is treatable, and the earlier the better. And in some of these areas, we have a way to go to make that a reality. So, the Zero Suicide Alliance, what are we doing? And we thank you, so many of you, for the help you've given us already. And we absolutely want to hear from you if you believe there are things that we, with partners and alliances, can do to improve. So we have commissioned and are publicising the training. We are absolutely delighted to be working with London Tribe, aiming to get 100,000 people taking the training. If everybody in this room talks to 20 people, that would be a fantastic start. Everybody listening, if everybody tweeting, if our media in London publicise the training, that would be a fantastic way forward. It's a tool that is a tool that anybody can take. It's not something that you have to have a string of letters up before or after your name to do. Every single person can do this. It hopefully makes it very understandable what you can do to look, to say, to see, and to signpost. I had a huge privilege last year to be invited by the Commonwealth Fund to an international meeting of the 14 high-income countries, the OECD countries. And it was a meeting of healthcare ministers and top policy civil servants and leaders. And it was the first time they'd invited someone like me, mental health, ex-National Political Director of Mental Health. It was the first time they'd had a focus on mental health. And what was amazing was that every single one of those 14 countries restated their ambition to now do something to improve mental health in their countries. Norway even went further and said, well, we want to go for happiness. And then we all looked, and the minister said, yeah, but we've got the oil money. So maybe we need to dig deep in the trends to find some. So my very last point I want to make is, I believe London can do it. The fact that we are sitting here in this huge world city, this huge famous world city, initiating this movement, the fact that we've got London Tribe, the fact that we've got the mayor of the whole city pushing, I believe we can do it. Why? Because I am really proud to be in the city working alongside partnerships. The amazing work of our police services in London. The only people are in awe internationally when I say we have less than 20, 30 people a year who get taken in crisis to police custody from a starting point of thousands, not all that long ago. No other police force in the world has achieved this. Our transport system, with their safety plans, their commitment to reduce suicide in the transport system. There is no other world city of the size that has ever attempted or proven they can do that. Last Friday was one of the best days of my life, actually, because I sat with the leaders for 27 acute trusts in London, 10 mental health trusts, fantastic police forces, London Ambulance Service, expert by experience, more to come, and people who genuinely want to work to have much more rapid, safe responses to crisis, to people at risk of suicide, at risk of not recovering from the mental illness, by bringing together the whole agencies in the city. I am very proud to be a London citizen. I'm very proud to be a London mum, I've been a school governor. I'm very proud to be a grandma. I am very proud to be in a city where we understand that if we work in partnership and with a focus on solutions and actions and supporting each other, we can achieve things that I don't believe any other global city is in a position to do at this point in time. So please take the training, please let's get cracking, and we're all in this together. Thank you.